Welcome back, everybody, to a War of the Visions news video. Let's go ahead and hit it. The news, that is. So the first thing is the new Vision card Esper is coming out this week. We already knew that from last week, but I guess what's kind of interesting is that there is nothing else coming this week in terms of banners. So maybe they just thought they'd give us a little bit of a break, or maybe they've got a whole schedule lined up and they know that this is a week that they didn't need to push another thing, or I don't know. There's any number of reasons why it could have happened. Some people might interpret that as Gumi, listening to us, but I don't really know. To be honest, I think if they needed to hit a certain schedule, they would be doing that no matter what. So I think we're just, this happens to be a slow week coming after RAF, and that's good because that means that a bunch of us can save unless you pulled for RAF, because if you did, then you'll definitely want this Vision card. It's very, very strong as a Vision card because of the absolute banger party effects that it gives. The global bestowed effect for dark units is very strong as well. And overall, this is just a really good card for her and for many other dark units, and then many other units in general. And the Esper itself is a tanking Esper that is really good for RAF as well, because it gives some area attack resistance up too. So just a really solid card and pull for a lot of people. So I'm assuming that lots of people won't be skipping this week. But if you are like me, then yeah, you can save some Visior up for whatever's coming up next. Okay, so let's talk about the Road to Worldwide update. And I do have some good things to say, but before you get carried away and call me a shill, a white knight, a coward, an imbecile, incompetent, moron, inept, inadequate, helpless, hopeless, a loser, just wait, because I have some bad things to say as well. All right, so what's happening this week? Well, we are getting a Road to Worldwide version special login bonus. This includes 7,000 Visior over 28 days. So, some people are a little bit choked about the amount of time that it takes to get this. I mean, it's meant to cover the whole crunch period. So, I mean, what it is what it is. There's a lot of things that we justifiably should be complaining about in this game. I'm not really worried about this like standard gacha practice. At the end of the day, we're not trying to change like the industry standards of how they're doing login bonuses, but we are trying to make some actual headway with Gumi about how they're handling this whole thing. That's my priority, at least. So anyway, the good things that I want to talk about. Well, first of all, I was on the weekend update with Orange a couple weeks ago, and we asked for some things, and we had a positive tone to the conversation. And one of the things that I really wanted to see was communication. And I do think that there's been some communication. There's been increased communication. However, I'm expecting another producer's letter on Wednesday with some more updates about this, maybe alluding to more coming. If we don't get that on Wednesday, I will be disappointed. I think this has to continue. That there has to be, because we got communication last week. I didn't get a chance to talk about that yet on the channel. We got communication through this new bonus, which leads me to the second thing that we talked about on the weekend update with Orange, which was Visior. We need Visior. Now, I think we are being listened to here, okay? I think that the fact that this doesn't have a part 2 on it means that it was not planned necessarily. Like, what I'm saying is that if this was planned like fully, that we were always going to get this, then why wouldn't they have put that as part 2? It still would have been disappointing. Okay, we're going to get to that part. Don't you worry. We're going to get there. It still would have been disappointing, but man, would that have been better than the RAF shard thing, right? So while I say this is not planned, I do think it was within their planning that they might have to do more, and that we push them to do more with the feedback that we're giving them. And then that's why we have this here, the special login bonus. And so that's just personally my opinion, is that this is evidence of them listening to us, and that, they're willing to continue to increase what we're getting. And some people are saying that it's a repurposed Visior from JP. Apparently that's been confirmed as not true. Either way, it doesn't really matter, because we just rarely get the same login, like special like login bonuses and banners that JP gets generally are consistent banners and login stuff is better than JP's, but JP gets like special occasion ones that are like really good, or amounts of Visior. We never get that stuff anyway. Maybe we will once the worldwide like syncs up. We'll just start getting that kind of stuff. But it doesn't matter if JP did get something that now we're getting because we wouldn't have got it anyway. So really, it is our own thing. Okay, and again, it's not. I'm really scared of somebody not listening to the rest of this video and just going away and being like, "Oh, Mysidia has a sample." He's hanging on to Gummies everywhere. Okay, that's not quite what it is. I want to say there are some light positives that I can take away from this. Now, here's the part where we get a little bit negative. Okay, so this is simply not enough Visior. It just isn't. Like 7,000 Visior is over this period of time is a total joke. If it was more than that, and it was spread out, then, it's like, hey, it's like, okay, well, we're not, all the other Visior that we would have been due would have only been due if we have logged in every single day and we had min-maxed all of our dailies and the arena and the ad summons and all that kind of stuff. Then we would have gotten some, huge amount of Visior over, 2 months that we're missing out on. So that's part of why they can't just give us a lump sum too, is because it's just, you're just assuming that all players would go ahead and do that. However, there's a large chunk of players that would go ahead and grab the maximum amount of Visior during that time. And this is not making up for it. So they're having to pull for the same amount of units with just less resources. So that's a problem. 7,000, this isn't enough, right? And my friend on Discord, is part of my guild, brought up a good point that he works for a big corporation, and he's seen behavior like this before. And basically, what he was sharing with me is that they will respond to criticism, but they'll always do the bare minimum that they need to try to make get a better perception of them and their efforts, while still not really doing what's best for us. But again, they're a company. They're not really supposed to do what's best for us. They're supposed to do what's best for them. Not that I'm excusing them. Okay. So the other thing I want to say is that we're never going to get the exact amount of Visior that we're missing out on. That would be insane, because again, part of it is variance. Not all players would ever get that much anyway, because they would miss a day of login, or they would, they wouldn't be doing all of their arena in 1 week, or they, whatever it is. There are casual players in this game, so to give all players like the min-max amount of Visior is kind of insane. But the more importantly, from a Gumi's perspective, is that Visior is a resource that can be bought. Right, it has a value, but it's a resource that can be saved, and we can save it for as long as we want and spend it on exactly what we need, and then therefore not spend in their game. So I do understand that concern. Just giving everybody this huge amount of this resource would be problematic, because again, we're not getting it in the same timeline that we would normally be, baited to pull on this or spend it on that, or do like a global banner, whatever it is. Like, those things aren't happening, and people can really tackle the next little bit with a lot of foresight to get the most out of it. So there are problems there. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to do things that still save us Visior without giving us Visior. And they are going to up the rates of certain units. We have no idea who, when, or what, where, why, or how, but we do know that's going to happen in some capacity, and that's going to be really interesting. But the other things that they could do is give some sort of incentive banners that have a ton of rewards on them, or banners that have a lower pity ceiling. And they could call them, okay, so we got summer units coming out, or whatever it is. Maybe it's the wedding units, and it's called the Road to Worldwide Pity Bar, or whatever it is, and make it really clear that this is not like the consistent thing that's going to happen in the future if they're worried about that, but it's a special thing they're doing for us to save us some Visior. So people are still saving or spending Visior, but they're spending less than they would have. They have a little bit left over. Somebody could still go to pity on literally everything they want and still be totally out of luck because they just aren't getting the same amount of Visior, and that sucks. Right? Like, that can still happen. But at the end of the day, there is like a middle ground, I think, where they are making an adequate effort to address the concerns, but they're also protecting their own interests. And right now, we are not at that middle ground. And I'm saying middle ground because, like I said, we're never going to get like the 60,000 Visior. It's just not going to happen, right? Do I think it should happen personally? Yeah, I would like that. I would love that Visior. But when I look at it, like rationally, are they ever going to just give us that much Visior? No. But that doesn't mean we have to stop voicing our concerns. Because again, that's how I think this special login bonus came to be, was by us voicing our concerns. So I think that needs to continue to be the case in all avenues. And I know some people have taken exception to me saying that in one of my previous videos. But at the end of the day, this 7,000 Visior is not enough. It's a message that they're listening, but it's missed the mark for me entirely. And I know some people are really pleased with it, and I am trying to take the positives out of it. But at the end of the day, we are still in a bad situation, in my opinion. Wow, I talked about that way longer than I thought I was going to. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Otherwise, let's talk about the Trial of Reckoning. So this is going to be something that we need to get on this week, because we can see right here that it only runs for the 1 week. And so this is something that's really important for people to do because you get a ton of rewards for it. And some people say that these items are too specific, you know. Maybe let's pull up the Gilgamesh one. Okay, so here is the necklace that we can get. Let's actually translate that real quick. Okay, so this is the Caring necklace, and you can see the stats on it aren't remarkable. Like, it's not something that's going to bust out other items out of your equipment slot. Down here, we get some decent resistances. Charm resistance, really love to see that. That's actually really huge. And then missile resistance 10 is not terrible. And then some very specific effects for the Final Fantasy V units. So my point is that some people say, you know, I don't really like these items. You know, I didn't like the Kefka garb or whatever. And I'm not going to farm the Trials of Reckoning. And that is a incorrect decision for a lot of players. Not for every player, but for a lot of players. And the reason is because you can just farm this thing and not craft one of those items. And the reason that you would do that is that you get so many UR and MR crafting materials that at some point you are going to be crafting raid equipment or MR equipment or whatever it is, and you'll just have so much stocked. It's really important as a new player and as a mid-game player to build up those big stores of those materials and then be able to use them when you need them. As a new player, if you were able, like, it would be very difficult, but if you were able to build this would be one of your best pieces of gear anyway. Not that you're probably not likely to be able to do a +5 of this. Either way, I think this one is a little bit better than the Kefka one, just because we have that charm resistance, which is very, important for certain game modes. And then otherwise silence resistance is also very interesting for, again, certain times when silence becomes a thing. And if you did pull for the Final Fantasy V characters, then this is a very interesting way to get a little bit more than Trustmaster increase in the skill time activation, and it works for healing spells too. So really solid piece of gear. Everybody, if possible, should do the Trial of Reckoning. And if you're someone that wants to skip it, just think to yourself, am I a veteran player that doesn't want this and I have a huge store of crafting materials? Because again, if we look at the crafting materials, you get all of these things, right? When you farm this, you're going to get so many blissful, joyful hearts, wolf fangs, wind, mega crysts, etc. And those are all really nice to stock up on, at all times. I forgot to mention the stories also, getting an update here, which is cool. This was really, the whole plan that Mont has in this for this battle is so ridiculous. I don't want to go into any spoilers here, but it was so dumb. Okay, so then we have Transcendence and character quests, and look at this. Engelbert, that's good. Sadly, Anglashella. So Wind is getting a big boost here with some nice Transcendences. Maybe I'll talk about those in a video if I'm up to it later this week. And then otherwise, I would say, getting Cyrell is another big thing for Wind to get those Transcendences. And then character quest 2s, well, Dark Fina's getting one, which is great. And then McLeod, everybody's favorite Ice MR, I'm sorry, you Curry fans, is getting one as well. And he's somebody that, is already performing quite well at the cost limited content. So for him to get another buff is very solid for people that have built him. And if you haven't, you can go unlock that in the Farplane archive. And I recommend that you do it because he's pretty good. All right, that's it from me. Thanks for coming by, everybody. I'll see you, later this week. I'll have to think of what I'm going to do because I don't think I'm going to do a Great Demon, VC should you pull video. I think it's pretty clear if you pull VAF, you pull for it. And, I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll think about what else I could add to that I didn't already add in this video. And otherwise, let me know if you'd like to see a specific type of video. But, otherwise, I'll see you all soon in another video.